Chameleon How-To Guide Navigation.
Hello everyone, John for Cat Northwest here, and today we're going to be taking a look at navigation on the APH Chameleon. So there's a number of different commands for how you get around, how you scroll, how you choose things, and so we're going to go through those today. So once you've got your machine fired up and you want to get through and scroll through the menus, there's a number of actually different ways you can do that. There's 3 different ways to scroll to your next or to your previous item. So the first one that we're going to cover is simply spacebar together with .4 to go next, and spacebar together with .1 to go previous. Let's give that a quick shot. Spacebar .4 to go next. Spacebar .1 to go previous. There we are. And that's gone ahead and scrolled us up and down through the menu. Of course, we can press those repeatedly to scroll further and further. So that's option number 1 for you to get up and down or to the next or previous item in menus or in lists. The next way we're going to talk about is using the thumb keys on the front. Now there are 5 buttons total on the front. We're focusing at the moment on the far right and far left one, which are the previous and next thumb key. Previous being on the left, next thumb key being on the right. Just in from those, just to let you know, we have a little circular home button in the center, which we'll cover in just a second, and we also have your braille display panning keys in from those. The braille display panning keys will be your slightly longer rectangular buttons, and the previous and next will be the far outer ones that are slightly shorter than those panning keys. Those panning keys will help shift you to the next set of 20 cells for continue reading along a document. So, next or previous item, far right, far left, thumb keys there. So let's give those a quick try as well. I'll hit the previous one really quick.
Power off.
That took me to power off, which is the bottom of my main menu because I was already at the top. And I'll press the right one to go to the next item.
Editor.
Back to my editor. Fantastic. Now there is actually, again, a third way to do this as well, which is to simply press spacebar all by itself to go to the next item, and backspace to go to your previous item, just like so. Now I teach that one last, although it might be the simplest, and actually I think there's a lot of people who default to using space and backspace to go previous and next. I teach that one last simply because it's situational, of course, right? So when you're writing or editing a document and not in a menu or a list, then space is going to act like a space bar and backspace is going to delete a character just like normal. So that one is somewhat situational, not a hard one to remember, but that's why I teach that one last. But you can use any of those 3 ways of getting around this device. You can use any combination. It does not matter, they are all equal, so whatever your preference is, the space.4, space.1 to go next previous, space and backspace, or those previous and next thumb keys on the front. Any of those will work wonderful. Okay, now we know how to get up and down through our menus. How do we choose something? So if we want to open, select, or choose something, there's actually 2 ways to go about doing that. The first way is simply going to be pressing your enter, or some people refer to that as .8, to select something. So I'm on my notepad right now. If I want to open this up, I can press enter here, and voila, it's gone ahead and opened me up. I got some little braille brackets there indicating my edit box.
That's fine.
And I already accidentally wrote something in there earlier, so I'll just erase that. Okay, so we can press enter on things to choose them. The second way to do it is to use a cursor router key. So there are a little bump above every single one of your braille cells. These are your cursor router keys. They would normally, while editing, be used for moving your cursor around your document to edit, maybe correct a spelling. But when you are in, again, a menu or a list, you can press any of those cursor router keys to double as an enter to select things. It does not even need to be the cursor router key directly above the braille label that you're currently popped up. It can be anywhere, middle, end, it does not matter. You can press any of those 20 to select the current item that you're on. Great. So now we know how to choose things and open things, select things. Now once we're in something, like I've gotten into the editor, how do I get out or back to the main menu? And there's a couple different ways to do these things as well. So first, quick distinction. There are commands to get you all the way back to your main menu, like a home command, and there is a command for just going back 1 step. So an example would be like if you're in the editor here, perhaps you've opened up the menu inside the editor, which we'll cover in another video. Perhaps you've opened up that menu and you just want to get out of that menu. You don't need to go all the way back home. You just want to close the menu and just continue writing your document. That is going to be spacebar with the letter E, dots 1 and dots 5. Space 1, 5, that will be the letter E, and that will get you out. I like to think of it as space E for escape or space E for exit. That helps me remember it. Maybe that'll help you as well. So again, that is a back 1 step command and not all the way out. But of course, sometimes you may want to get all the way out of the application, back to the main menu, maybe go do something else on the device, read a book, you can use the calculator, etc. And there's 2 different ways to do that. The first one is going to be spacebar with a full braille cell. So all 6 braille dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and spacebar all together at the same time. That will take you home or back to the tip top of your main menu. The second way of doing the exact same thing is going to be that little round button on the front edge in the center of our device. If we also click that, there we go. It's taken us back to our main menu, which I hear editor, and I happen to know that editor is the very first item on the main menu. So voila, I'm there at the top of the main menu, and that's taken me back home. Okay, so 2 different ways to go home or back to your main menu. Great, so now we know how to get around. We can scroll up and down through lists, a few different ways to do that. We can choose things, a couple different ways to do that. We can go back 1 step. We can even get all the way back out to the main menu, with a couple different ways. Now, there are a couple additional commands for navigation efficiency. They aren't strictly speaking necessary for getting around, but they can make getting around way, way, way faster. The first one is going to be jumping to top and bottom of lists or menu lists. And so we're going to start with jumping to bottom because I'm already at the top of the main menu. And that is going to be spacebar together with dots 4, 5, and 6 all at the same time.
Power off.
Jump to bottom, which is power off. And if I do the mirror of that, spacebar dot 1, 2, and 3, that will jump me to the top, which it says editor, which indeed is the top of our main menu. This works really wonderful for jumping through a menu. Perhaps the item you're looking for you happen to know is almost all the way at the bottom, and it'll be faster to jump to bottom and then scroll backwards from there to find the item that you're looking for. Or maybe you opened up a document, it's put you at the top of the document, and you want to jump to the bottom of the document and continue writing or editing. You can use that jump to bottom command for that. All right, now there's one last navigation tool that I want to teach you, which is called first letter navigation. The name kind of gives it away, but it is navigating by the first letter of the item that you're looking for. So I'll just do a quick example here on the main menu. I'm at the top here, which is editor. I know a number of items down. It's like 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 items down. There is settings. So rather than navigating item by item by item by item until I get to settings, I can simply press the letter S for settings. And voila, it's jumped me straight to my settings. Now you still do have to press enter or cursor router key to open up that item, but that jumped you to it without having to scroll item by item by item looking for it. Now you might say, awesome, great, what if I pressed S for settings or something like that, and I didn't get to the item that I was looking for? Well, there might be, in some of the menus, more than one item that starts with the same letter. And if that's the case, and the first thing that it popped up when you pressed that letter was not what you're looking for, simply press that letter again. So I could press S again, and it would take me to the next thing in this menu or list that starts with the letter S, and so on. You can keep pressing S multiple times if there's 2, 3, 4 or more items that start with the same letter. You just keep pressing that same letter, and it'll jump you by items that start with that same letter. And again, that would be way, way, way more efficient than navigating item by item by item. You can just use first letter navigation to get you there quickly. All right, that does it for this video. Hope that was helpful, and we'll see you all in the next one.
CATT, Center for Assistive Technology Training Northwest.
The CAT program is funded by a federal appropriation and works in partnership with the American Printing House for the Blind and Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind. Logos: APH, AIDB, and WSSB